I want to show them this where my modifier thing is built, and I got my. We'll go through the. I thought I just go through this house and do a garage door open. Um,
Dude, what? Look at that one at the upper left. What's that? Is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. This is just my. I copy and paste this to.
Oh, that's your thing for getting all, yeah, all you're building out
Yeah,
all your little images. That's the thing we need Steve to build for you.
yeah, exactly. That's all I need, generally. If with this, everything else can be done a harder way,
You know what
probably.
would be interesting is like, I wonder if there's some way that Steve could figure out how to like have a slide like that available in like the gallery or something, and then you could just go like fiddle with all your pictures, like drag it.
Well, what I'm wondering is once he has the ability to insert PDFs in here, that may solve this issue.
How so?
Because if you can put a PDF in here, then I have access to a PDF. You can put PDFs in inspector only notes and open it up, and I could do my shit right in there.
But you
Maybe.
still wouldn't be able to drag it onto like the image and stuff.
Well, no, but for me, if I want to drag this into an image, I just hit hit this and take the bit of it that I want and just paste it. Uh,
Jesus, how'd you do that? Oh, I see what you did. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, you used snippet. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I thought you were suddenly in the Scribeware editor. I was like, what?
yeah. No, but I can also once I get all these edited like this, I can hit go up and uh, where is it? Hit file, save as, and save every slide as an individual JPEG. Then it's just easy, just drag and drop again. But I don't. I've done that a couple of times, but for various reasons, I don't do it. Uh, I'd have to be a little bit more careful because I'll show you what happens. What can happen is what I do a lot is let's say with this one, let's say I want to change. It's not really level, so I'll make it like that, and then I can just drag it off the screen like this both ways, and then it's what the JPEG is going to see is what shows over here on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't check it, like maybe I'll end up with it like this, and you end up with a white area that shows
Oh,
that
interesting.
the
Yeah,
JPEG
yeah.
catches. Um, but I really like the ability to be able to.
Do you lose quality in the pictures when you do all
I don't
this?
at all. That's
It's
why I do it
amazing.
this way. Because watch it. Watch this. I'm going to show this in when we meet up. But look at this. See how it's out of focus.
Yeah, yeah.
You can. Uh, God, format picture corrections. You can clean it up a lot.
Holy cow. Under picture format. So you're
But
pushing all
and
your
this is
pictures through
already cropped in half.
and you're putting all of your pictures it through PowerPoint?
Yeah, but not all of them. Just the ones that I'm going to
Fiddle
manipulate.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I just went back into my client folder and grabbed a bunch of these that relate to the garage door, and I thought we could because like this one here, I don't like that. I want the damn thing to be uh, more the right angle. So that's what I do, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
when you're doing the screenshot, you don't even have to grab all of that. You can grab just a small bit of it.
Yeah.
And it really, the image, these are at 4 megs, so the image quality is awesome.
That's awesome. That's really cool, Charlie. All right, shall we start letting people in?
Sure. I know this isn't something that everybody's gonna want to do, but I want to. It'll give them a good sense of the power of it all, and I'll start on the starting point here.
Yeah, that sounds good. Plus, I want to show Steve what you do with pictures in PowerPoint.
Yeah,
I'll record
is he
this.
gonna get on? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We'll send it to him. It's a little bait.
Yeah, really.
Okay. All right. Hey, we got Curtis on here.
Yeah, I saw he was gonna come on.
Hey guys.
Mr. Curtis.
Got TJ coming in. Morning, everyone.
Hi, all.
Hi, TJ.
Hey.
Hey, TJ. Richard's on here. Hey, Richard. Thomas. Nice to see you, Thomas.
Got 2 Blaines.
Yeah, I think
one's my computer and one's my phone because my phone has a microphone in it.
That's interesting.
Nice. Welcome, Blaine. Nice to see you, man. All right, we'll let a few more people stroll in here.
Hey, Curtis, how do you like my green screen? We're not hearing Curtis.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, you guys, you're going to see Richard Andrews. Charlie got a little green screen so that he doesn't have the little waviness around his head. Isn't that fun? Isn't that amazing? You have to show
kind of fun. I'll hold up this pen with a green top and see how the top goes away. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, you have a physical screen sitting behind you?
Yeah, it's actually, it looks like a projector screen that sits on the floor, and you pull it up, and it's got a bracket that unhinges at the same time and just holds it up behind me. It's about 7 feet tall. Really, it works awesome. I think I like losing all that in and out and waviness and craziness that happens. How you can't with a regular, you can't see. You can see a little green outline on my fingers, but pretty fun.
The things you learned during COVID, right, Charlie?
I know. It'll be interesting to see what things we abandon after COVID.
Yeah, yeah, right. We got Clark coming in. Wait a few more minutes and then we can we'll get going here.
Richard looks like he just took a walk on the beach with his background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Needed a change.
I could use a week there.
Yeah, there's a
Morning, guys.
Morning. Hey, Clark, how are you?
Good. Just getting up.
Yeah, nice.
I got my tea here.
Yep, nice. Yeah, I had a hard time. Man, I had my second COVID shot on Tuesday, and I still don't feel all that perfect.
wow. Julie was half a day out after hers.
Was it Pfizer or Moderna?
It was Moderna. And I mean, I spent 36 hours just like shivering in bed. I mean, I was really miserable. And then,
I'm kind of worried that I didn't have any reaction whatsoever.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Same with me, yeah.
I keep telling people I must have gotten the placebo or something.
Well, I think it's one of those, everyone's going to react different and depends which one you get and all that.
Well, I had Moderna.
I got a Pfizer one and I had zero reaction.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine was somewhere in between.
I get my second Moderna on Wednesday. I felt nothing the first one. I'm kind of hoping the second one's the same.
I felt nothing on the first one. My arm wasn't even sore.
I didn't even know when it went in.
Yeah, just totally nothing on the first one, and then that was just awful. Anyway, my tip, if you're getting the second one, is schedule a bit of time off. Luckily, I did, but there's no way I could have done an inspection for at least a day.
I was hoping for a Windows tattoo on my arm afterwards.
Yeah. Funny. All right. Well, sweet. Cool. Don's jumping in. Well, why don't we get going? I can always just keep letting people in, but welcome everybody, and I'm really excited to sort of dive into Charlie's world here today. It's fun.
This will be a good example of what you don't want to do, maybe.
Well,
I mean, but hopefully it'll give you some ideas that you can take and incorporate for yourselves that fit your model. My model is admittedly over the top, but I thought I'd start at the beginning here, which is the home page, and I've got a demonstration report set up here. And like Dylan, I have the date way out here in the future so that these templates always stay up at the top. Dylan, that reminds me, Donnie said he couldn't make the date stay up there. Or somebody I was talking
wrong. Yeah, I mean it always stays up there. You just got to make sure you got to find the little year toggle, right? So that the year is 2025, or mine's in like 2060 or something like that. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so I'll open up this one. We'll play with this report. This way I can abuse it and not mess up my actual template. But as you can see right off the bat, my left side is going to look different than yours likely. See, I put these spacers in here just to break it up so that I can find everything in the mass of things. Plus I put little decorative icons in here that help signal what I'm looking at.
And can you go all the way down? I'd love to see all your chapters here just to see what you got. How come you got interior doors? Oh, so you've just a doors section basically.
Yeah, I have and windows and doors are in between these two. The other cool thing that these dots do is if you expand one of these, my sections under any given chapter is huge.
Jeez, look at that.
Nice.
So if I want to go away from that, I just click on one of these and it cleans it all back up. You can do the same thing by just clicking on overview. We'll collapse it all again, but I use it that way.
Boy, yeah, on the mobile, you would have a really hard time having more than one thing open. Because on mobile, you can open up the sections and have a bunch open and then close them. But one at a time open.
I was thinking on the mobile, being able to hide some of these sections you just know you're never going to use would be kind of nice on the mobile to have them not show up.
By the way, guys, not meaning to interrupt, wanted to say good morning and just let everyone know I came here to feel totally insignificant because of Charlie's report. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, trust me, Don, your business model is going to be a little bit better, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to stay up all night, every night, writing reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can tell you right off the bat, you're looking at 6-8 hour reports, regardless of what. And that's cut my time in half moving to Scribeware. So every business model is different, and mine is not going to fit most people's. I'm well aware of that and whatnot. But for me, my template I'm building as an information base, and hopefully we're kind of thinking of this as almost a training tool for incoming inspectors.
What to strive for, Charlie?
What's that?
What to strive for?
Yeah, but not even that. But just if you understood my template, you could pass the National Home Inspector exam. You know, that kind of thing. But I don't know. That's out in the that's part of the dream. All right, so I thought we'd just pick on the garage and overhead doors, and I'll just go right through the overhead door section, and we'll actually create it and then look at it and see what it looks like in the published report. So go down overhead doors. And what I've done is I've incorporated everything that can be wrong with an overhead door in conjunction with the DASMA testing protocol. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that is a protocol, DASMA 167. It's a legitimate recognized testing procedure developed by all the door manufacturers. So
Wow.
it's something that you can rely on as if something goes bad and you testing to this protocol, well, it failed under test, but generally speaking, it stops you before you get to that point where anything bad would happen. So,
And just to make that totally clear, like if you use your hand to test the resistance on the door and the door breaks, in theory, you broke the door. You didn't follow like a standard testing protocol.
That's right.
Whereas if you follow this ideally, if you follow this, you probably will never break a door. But if you did, it would have failed, failed under testing, and you would kind of have a legitimate thing to cover you, if that makes sense.
And we'll look at those stopping points, and you may decide to go past some of these stopping points. I routinely do, but there's certain ones I do not go by, and I'm done. I want evaluation repairs by an overhead door company. So we'll look at that. Everything on top of these green, this is just a placeholder. It doesn't show in the report. I don't ever put anything in this line. This just breaks any overhead door. And after this point, we have an automatic opener involved. And that's the only place DASMA gets involved. DASMA protocols don't affect a non-opener type door. It's only with an operator. But a lot of the things that you have to check for with DASMA protocols would show up under here, like the condition of the tracks and rollers and hinges, cables, all of that stuff. So we'll look at that. But you can see here I have testing protocol, and I just have two choices. It's a door or doors. It's the same thing that drops in there, but it is just a picture of the actual DASMA 167 protocols for the client. So it's built right into the report so they can test the door themselves, which I strongly recommend periodically. So we'll go out of there. But this is an example of how you can link these descriptions, we call them. They stay right here with the area that you click on. Is everybody using these descriptions in their reports?
A little bit.
Yeah. Now, I create them differently than Dylan, and I'll show you how I do that in a bit. But right now, I just wanted to give you an overview, and then we'll start at the beginning. But this is all the stuff that's talked about in these DASMA protocols, all the warning labels in place, the door panels, and anything with a red exclamation point and a stop sign that would technically stop the inspection of the door. So the first thing that we run into are door panels free of any signs of fatigue, mechanical damage, etc. If you can see where the car's rolled into it and bent a door, you are allowed to be done at that point.
Yeah.
If you go past this, you're risking something bad happening and you getting blamed for it. So you follow me? So it's kind of it's really an awesome tool, I think. So
It
that
is also the knock that I've had against this is it'll take you forever to do the doors, but there are so many stop signs where in theory you don't really have to even continue
yeah,
testing the doors. You can just recommend servicing. So
I'd say 50% of doors I don't get through it.
mhm.
But you'll have to. And honestly, if you're not spending 15 to 20 minutes between inspecting and writing about it on an overhead door, you probably are going to get yourself into trouble with one at some point, because there's so much that can go wrong with them. There's so much, and they're a big, dangerous, heavy thing that can kill people. So I think, when I'm doing an intake, I want to know how many doors there are, because I charge accordingly. If there's 3 overhead doors, I know that I'm going to be spending considerable time checking those doors, especially if I'm alone. I can't get anybody to push the button for me, and I got to run back and forth. And you've all been there. It takes some time to do testing of these things, and some of you guys SOPs may not require. Like in Washington State, we're supposed to test these doors, and if you're gonna if your SOP wants you to test them, it's good to have an actual defensible protocol to use rather than just winging it based on what some instructor told you.
Well,
Yeah.
so it would be really sweet, Charlie. If I don't know if you can even do this. I'm trying to get my head around it, but where you hit no and you hit a stop sign, it would be nice if it just popped up the narrative that like I stopped testing this door. It needs to be serviced because metal fatigue was noted, or whatever.
Yeah. So if I hit this no, then I immediately go up and click this one here. And that brings up the big red narrative down below that explains that it failed one of these numbers, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, or 9. That doesn't. None of this blue, of course, shows up in the report, but it explains why it was stopped and what you should do about it. And I'm done. I'm out of there. But,
Yeah.
This door that we're going to go through here, I got through the whole thing, so we'll do that. And at any rate, so we'll go back up here and we'll just, I want to show you where everything comes from. So I think how the best way to show you, like under each one of these is all these things that you can pick from. The door was inspected, so that'll be there. If the door's in really bad shape, I have a global thing here that I use that stops the whole thing. I might be done with the whole inspection of the door because of this. So I'll click on that just to show you what it looks like down here. And it's got all these where I change where the location of the door. I might say it's in poor, very poor, extremely poor, very distressed. Those are the choices I would use. And over here, then I get a big drop-down list of
Look at all those.
All the different things that can be wrong with that door, including that the door opener is ancient. This is the gunny sack of all those issues. It keeps me from belaboring through that whole rest of the list. And we've all had doors like this. And so that's a useful tool that you can easily build into Scribeware. And of course, this one, I've set it so that I can click multiple ones and close it. And they just line up here, just all logically, and make a nice addition to the narrative overall. So I do that a lot. I will
Charlie,
have.
can I ask a question, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hey, when you got that narrative list there, wear and tear, mechanical damage, some mechanical damage, blah, blah, blah. Could that also be in that bulleted pull down?
They are. They're all in there, mechanical damage. And that's where I create that bulleted list from, is all the other things like door condition, like all of these things are some of the things that might be on that list. I've got individual ones for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like this one. So that's just its own thing that's involved mostly on mechanical damage, but it also is related to some mechanical damage, considerable mechanical damage. And then I just changed this one to whichever one is appropriate. That way you don't have to build dozens of different narratives. You have to, I find that a difficult thing because sometimes it's better to actually have
I was coming back.
6 narratives than one narrative you have to just 6 ways. Does that make sense? It's quicker.
I think I was talking more like you can with the photos, and you hit the button up there, and it has and it brings all of the comments for the photos into a bulleted list. That's a different function than what you're doing. Yeah. I answered my own question. Okay.
No, but Gary, to finish your thought, it actually ended up being a lot more confusing when we rebuilt these pull down lists, the bright yellow ones. That was what we intended to be able to do, was to display them like Charlie just did, or to be able to display them in a bulleted list.
Correct.
Which I would really like. Unfortunately, we still have plans to do it, but it just got a lot more complicated. So we kind of put it on the back burner. But it's a real bummer for me because I'm a bullets like that. I just live and die by my bullets. And I really want to be able to make that list bulleted. So I'm a bit dead in the water until we get that.
And honestly, there are instances where bullets are better than doing them as a list, but
as
in
a
other
line.
situations, not, because
they're easier to read.
Yeah. That's just it. I find that, really helps break up that long narrative that I used to write, into.
But let's say that you did that just for kicks and giggles. Let's say you did do the where and you had the list there and it's long and it's all connected. Could you put your cursor in front of each one and do a return and create your bulleted list as you write it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And our hope is that it's an awesome question, Gary. It's really what I wanted, but we don't have it quite yet, but it's still on the list of things to do. It's just sort of, we don't have that quite yet.
It's really difficult to do in this current situation because it's very difficult to get your cursor in there, and then you would have to go like this all the way back through.
Gotcha.
To the point where you would want to hit enter.
And do a carriage return so that it.
Yeah, see, it won't even let you.
It won't even do you. Okay. All right. Okay, good.
Yeah. And you can't even get rid of this once it's created.
You have to go in and uncheck it.
It's probably best to delete it and redo it.
That's right. That's the only way. It's a pain in the butt. And even if you copy and paste this, it recreates it. So you can't just go in here and hit this. You can't get rid of them. I mean, if you
gotcha.
It just.
Well, it's good. We'll get this to Steve too. That's one of those things that I feel like could use a little bit of polishing.
Now now here's a good example. Let's say you do something and it does go away. Well, here it isn't highlighted.
So it's not connected to the drop down. Gotcha.
And that's really what you need, isn't it? Is a way to disconnect it from that.
Yeah,
from the drop down, right?
But watch what happens when I highlight this. It's still there. So then you hit save, but It's just kind of weird.
So it's just an editing issue.
Yeah.
But that's only when you have multiple sentences that you need that ability to edit it, I guess.
But let's say you get it screwed up like this for some reason. You just hit delete and then open it again. It'll be right back the way it was.
And it resets it to the default setting
Yeah.
that you had created it under.
Can't remember where it was. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hit enter.
Mm-hmm.
Go back down here. Well, that's not. Yeah, I did. I totally. Is that the same way? It's the same one, isn't it?
I believe it was a different.
Yeah,
it was a
it was a
different
different
note. It was a different note, and you were.
I think I did screw it up, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Charlie.
Oh no, yeah, because this is the one I had. Because all I did is hit enter.
You might have just deleted it, but
Let me see if I.
it is interesting, Charlie. Your template is so long. I see why you really would have to just have all your observations show up. You have to scroll so far down to get to your comment because
Yeah, that's why I want those narratives to pop right in here under this line.
yeah.
Sort of at the
everybody else-
bottom of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, would everybody else like it? It's not nearly as big an issue when you have a somewhat normal template, Charlie.
I'm not offended. I'm well aware that I'm the idiot in the room.
But I mean, it's occurred to me that maybe in our settings we could create it where you could choose if you. I mean, right now the descriptions always show right below the. The pull down, so to speak.
Yeah.
But everything else goes all the way to the bottom. But maybe you could choose which ones you would like to be all the way at the bottom and which ones.
Yeah, that'd be cool to like make it sticky, and that would stick under the bottom of whatever you had, like overhead door.
Yep, that's right. If you originated it from a pull down, it could stick there or not. You'd have to, but you'd almost want to choose it per qualifier, and then you could choose all of them or some of them or however you want to lay it out.
It's super custom.
Yeah, that might be nice. I don't think that's that hard.
This is something I blew Gary with away the other day, so I'll show everybody. But this is mostly applicable when you're building your template than any other time. But sometimes, so let's say you get a whole bunch of these strung out here. I'm just going to click on a bunch of them. I'll go down here. I just want to make a long string of them, and then you want to get rid of them all again. Well, you don't have to just click on the X here every time. You can just put your cursor. If you click on the first one, the cursor automatically shows up in the end, and you just hit the backspace, and they just all disappear.
It hops to the end of the next one. Yeah,
That's interesting.
So that's kind of a really useful thing when you're building templates and you're getting nutsy with the number of things. Because what happens is you'll find that at some point you're going to want to, let's say, reconnect all these to a different line that you've created. Well, then you have to change this wording. I'll copy that and open this. I got to go back down to the bottom. I should use descriptions for this. See how this is what we were going to change? The first part of this, where's all of these?
Text string door conditions.
Yeah. So you'd open this up, edit in library, and this is what you would change to relocate this same narrative to a different section heading. And it happens all the time. Where I just realized, oh, that's in the wrong section. I want this in a different section, or I want it in multiple sections. So then it becomes a matter of, you change this, but you hit add new, and then it comes up
as a new library entry.
Yeah, so this is a thing that I don't do that Charlie does. It's a pretty important distinction. This is probably one of the biggest, if you want to spend time customizing your template, one of the biggest things I have not really taught well when I do stuff that Charlie does. Do you want to go through like how Charlie's been able to connect narratives using the words. Do you want to just explain that, Charlie?
Yeah, sure. So as you notice, as we go down through this list, all of these have drop downs that, well, let's say we'll start with this door that we're going to do a actual report on. It was inspected. Now I click on this. This just says that, look, exterior trimming, it's included in the exterior section of the report. Go find it there. I'm not going to repeat it here, even though it's kind of part of the door assembly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's a nice little checkbox, you guys, for, that comes up all the time where, like, I don't know, you're in the garage and you see electrical problem. You could like build a little thing that says see electrical section for garage wiring defects or something.
And right here is where I'm going to
Right.
I'm going to mess with Steve's brain a little bit, because what I would like to see is a break where, let's say we go to this one, where you could put a break between the top 2 or 3, because I never use checkboxes, or rarely, unless they're really short. I don't like to use checkboxes that make me go down multiple lines, multiple rows. So it'd be kind of nice to have, and I'll show you where that, I'm going to have to go away from this a second here. I want to go down here. But let's say you have one here that says yes and no, and then I've got a break, and then there's these other things. Well, wouldn't it be nice if these yes and no only could be checkboxes, but then you still have the ability to have these other things that get added?
Jeez.
Does that make sense, Dylan?
Sort of. That sounds tricky.
Yeah, I don't, it's not real important, but there are many instances where you have a yes or no answer, but you also have other stuff that you want to talk about. Same thing. But this is as close to an example as I have for you right now. All right, so let's say the door is constructed, and this one was metal, so we'll move past there. This one did not apply. Get rid of that. So door conditions. Yeah. This is something I have missing, because I need to have some way of having this line show up. I could say that. I mean, that applies to almost every single door, right? How often do you have a brand new door? Maybe not, but so I need something here that makes this line stay. So for today, we'll use that. I don't think there's anything else.
Otherwise, if you don't put anything, door condition doesn't show in the report.
Yeah, let's say this is.
You could say good, right?
You could say good. Yeah, you could say anything. Yeah.
Or I could say.
Well, that's why you guys, a lot of the stuff in the default template are, there's like silly things that say like tested or,
Yeah. Or no defects. How about no defects noted? That, I use that. And, so now I'll get rid of this one and pick no defects noted. So that allows me to have this heading here. I don't know why it does that, Dylan, and I'm glad that maybe Steve can tell me why that happens. But every once in a while, you could try to go to the next row and it just takes us away. But
never seen that.
Tracks and rollers and hinges. There were no issues with this door. But let's pretend there had loose tracks. So now this isn't going to make any sense, but let's I want to show you how I create these connections, but The point is that your long list it's everything conceivable that could be wrong with an overhead door. So you don't have to make up anything, and it checks you. You don't. As somebody like me that has no memory, it protects me from, oh my God, I didn't even look at that door track, and then I can go back and look at the gazillion pictures I take,
So it's like a guide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is where, if you leave that open for a second, Charlie, I mean, the idea of this as a teaching tool is that in a way, Charlie's built in like all the different defects you're going to find with tracks, rollers, and hinges. So you might not even know to look for some of these things.
That's
right.
right. Most people aren't.
Well, yeah, especially when you're a newer inspector. But even if you've been doing it forever, I like learn new things that I should have been looking for all the time, which always horrifies me. But it's just life with our business. But
well, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, we get down through this. I think there will probably be things that you don't check, or that you think, oh, maybe I should be checking that, or do you, for example, have a comment about how vulnerable they are to breaking in? That's something that's an important part of any garage door. It's super easy to break in. I even have a little video linked in here where they can go and watch a guy get in 10 seconds. It's pretty
Broken into mine.
All right, so let's say I want to add this. Make it orange. So I can go down here, go to that comment, and I'll open it in, and all I would do is add it in here. And if you don't know Control V, that's important, useful thing. Copy and paste, rather than doing the whole right click thing. Control C and Control V is a hugely useful
window shortcut.
Yeah. All right. So then I'll hit. I can either hit update existing. Let me hit add as a new library entry. Yes. Now watch what happens. I'm going to get rid of both of these. Watch what happens when I hit. See, it'll be, see how it's orange now? So we've linked it, but watch what happens when I'm going to get rid of both of these. Start fresh. I'll click on this one, click on this one, and we'll have two narratives that show up. Should anyway. Yeah.
So you can edit that to a specific text string.
So then let's say I'll take this one, edit it, and I can get rid of all of this and hit update existing. Now they'll come up individually.
Because the other text strings were tied to it. And it was pulling multiple.
Does that make sense? So now,
you narrowed your keyword. Yeah,
click just this one, and now there should just be one there. And then you can change this to whatever. Notice I just have a little note here. I don't even have any words. You change that in the back in your settings. I like it really clean. It's a note. It doesn't need a word saying it's a note. Let's see where. So there it is. Now it's up there.
And in a different version of this, Dylan, the defect would be up there under tracks and rollers rather than a note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's the option that we've been talking about. That I can't remember the last time I spoke with Steve about it, but I don't think it's that hard. I mean, we could start placing, yeah, in theory, I like the idea of each inspector could choose whether they want the given modifier to show up right next to where it originated in those pull downs, or automatically go to the bottom like we do it. You know?
As a default.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, then you'd edit this to be an appropriate to a note as opposed to a repair. And if you haven't noticed, you notice I also have all these sub qualifiers. These are different. I have a bunch of these that I use depending on what it is, and I would edit this. If it's just a note about these, monitor, these may all apply, still apply. But the different choices I have, I'm going to switch to a Word doc. This Word doc is my list of all the different choices I have, and I just I'll copy and paste them. I'll just do it here. Control C.
So when you're editing your stuff, Charlie, you keep that Word doc open so you can grab and paste and copy and okay.
It's always over on another screen. Today I've got it set up this way just so that I'm not having to switch screens. But let's say I want it here. And change them all, and then pick the ones that I don't want and delete them. Of course, you can make them unbulleted. You could make them numbered, whatever you want. I mean, you set this up to suit your own thing.
Style of reporting.
Yeah. But maybe it's only due diligence is almost always there. Safety is often there. I mean, the problem is that in a narrative, let's go back down to here. Oh, we don't have one. Let me open up a narrative. Let's say I've got just these three here now, but it's an improvement, but it's a safety. It's an upgrade. It's doing your due diligence. So I like these modifiers. In my old Excel spreadsheet, I used to have them, only they were bulleted in a list.
So what you're saying is your green improvement garage might not say everything you want to say about that particular improvement. You want to say this improvement's a safety thing, a upgrade, and
people should realize it's nothing is one-dimensional in home inspection. It's always
it's a very interesting technique, because I think we all run into that whenever you're trying to qualify it, like whether it's a major concern or repair improvement. I mean, it's often like a mix of a bunch of things, and you end up having to choose the one that you feel is closest to like.
Yeah.
and this softens that problem. I mean, we're wrestling. How many seconds do you wrestle with? Well, which qualifier do I want to use for this really? But by having this list, it's much easier for me. And honestly, there's some time involved in setting this up. But once it's set up, it's pretty. It's just a click after it's set up, right?
Charles, so if you're coming from a narrative sort of process, then maybe one way you could deal with that could be to pick the category or the modifier that fits closest, but leave, if there's something that's, has some other elements in it, maybe you leave that verbiage in there. In other words, you could delete some of the information in your narrative and tone it down, but keep the important parts.
Sure. Yeah. There's that aspect as well. Yeah. Because you're letting them know it's a safety issue. You don't really have to say necessarily, unless it really is a safety issue, but then you might change this into a significant concern or something that needs repairs or whatever.
Right. And then you could have, like, if it was also a maintenance thing, just offhand, then you could still leave a paragraph, a sentence in or a comment about being too, but you put it into the context, this is a significant concern.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that's your biggest thing. I think would that work, you think?
With some things like a gas leak, I get multiple stop signs and red exclamation points and everything else. You really want to convey. You can doctor Scribeware in lots of ways to kind of improve. Because I don't like the whole idea of recommending repairs prior to closing and all that malarkey. I don't like inserting myself in the transaction. So all of these things kind of put it right in the buyer's face if they look at the report at all. And there's nothing you can do if they haven't looked at the report. All bets are off anyway. It doesn't matter what you say in the report if they don't read it. But it gets me to one.
Deeply customizable it is. The software is so deeply customizable. And since risk assessment is what we do as home inspectors, each individual inspector can set his own level of risk assessment and how he wants to deliver that information to the buyer.
Yeah. So you may wonder, well, nobody's even curious how I create all these icons that show up in here. It's really simple. You just hit the Windows key. If you're on a Windows computer, and there's similar keys for Macs, I understand, but just to hit the Windows and period key. Whoops, I don't need that. If you hold the Windows key too long, it brings up your desktop.
So the Windows key with a period?
Yeah. Windows key and period brings up all these different choices. And the ones I use all the time are here. You can see. Some of these are just experiments that never worked out or tried or whatever. But
hey, Gary, the snake one might be good for you down there in Mississippi, huh?
Yeah, really. There is a snake one somewhere.
Yeah, isn't that right there?
Yeah. I forget where I used that. I did use that somewhere, but I can't remember where now. At any rate, that's where you get them. There's others you can get access on the internet, but this is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. And they keep adding some periodically. I've found.
You got the ice cream cone.
I know. Well, you like my my mold one? I got a cheese.
You could use the ice cream for the reinspect when they get the repair done. You could give them the ice cream cone.
Or for the flips.
Yeah.
All right. So let's continue on here. Well, we'll get rid of this. So I'm not sure. I guess I need to just create a narrative and show you how I link it to something rather than.
I think that'd be helpful. You might pick a section where there's just less stuff to scroll around in too. So everybody, I think it'll help people sort of see it.
Yeah, like let's see.
That garage doors one's just so big.
Yeah, it is big, isn't it? Garage stairs is small.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's say you wanted to say something about landings, and you had just a blurb you wanted to add about just a note. So you could say garage stairs are typically funky. Pay attention. I'm just making stuff up here. Something that wouldn't be necessarily a defect, and so you're just going to make it a note or a
description.
There's lots of things on this list I don't even use. Like I don't use note. I don't use no modifier.
You can hide those if you never use them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, so now we've created our little thing that we want to link up here to landing. So we'll what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll be able to remember landing, but always get in the habit of copying and pasting this stuff for the blue that are going to be in that blue letters. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I'm going to hit Control C and I'll go down here, open this up, edit in library.
You've added a new note and you're going to open it in the library.
Yep. And now I'm adding its section heading, and then I'm going to hit space dash space. And I remember, what did it say? It said landings, right?
Landings, plural.
And most of the time they're too long to, even if you're going to remember this got an S or doesn't have an S.
You did have an S. Oh, you're saying that. Okay.
Yeah, but see, if I forget that it's got an S, that's why it's better to just copy and paste. You'll always get it right. Because if I hit add new library entry, yes, see, it's still not blue.
That's because you didn't have the S.
Don't have the S. This thing is really specific.
Is it case sensitive too? Because it was a capital
It's
L.
not case sensitive. It does not like multiple dashes. It does not like parentheses. So you have to be careful with that. It will work with parentheses and double dashes if there's just one of those, but if you've got two in a string that have multiple brackets, it's not happy with that. But I'm not sure why. But so now we'll go back in here, edit library. We'll put the S on here and update. I'll close this out. We should be blue now. Yeah. So I'll get rid of that. I can just hit enter and it'll show up. I'll show you. Oh, no, it didn't. It skipped. If I go like that and hit enter, then it'll show up. But you either have to delete it and re-enter it or highlight it and hit enter. But see,
do you guys see how this is a different way of connecting narratives to pull downs? It's using basically the title and connecting the narrative titles, you know? I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but it's a pretty cool way to do it if you were really starting out fresh and kind of like organized.
Yeah, but if you're building them, let's say you wanted to do one that says door opens over stairs. Well, you've already got a box with this heading in it. So why not just copy that, edit in library, and just change that part of it. Control V, hit save as new library entry. Yes. It's going to be blue.
Oh, that's fast.
So you basically added another description.
Yeah, I'm going to hit enter. And then maybe, why did that one end up?
Well, you were doing
I already had a narrative for that. Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, at any rate, that's how you can create in a section. You've already got that first part there, and you may already have this built with your sub modifiers in here. Let's see.
Charlie, one thing I've been thinking that could help everybody is we should do a video where I show the way I do it and you show the way you do it.
No.
In one video, there's both ways that you can connect, because these are all about building shortcuts, right? Where you've got a narrative connected to some type of just small descriptive comment, and we both do it different ways, which I mean, this is like the blessing and the curse. We actually in Scribeware used to have a really simple product that was insanely easy to use. And we could have showed you how the whole thing works in like 15 minutes, but everybody wanted all these different things. So now here we are all these years later, and it's like, now there's like millions of ways to do things, but it's a little more confusing.
Yeah, I wanted to see. We've
I
got
go back to-
plenty.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, see, they're both still there.
Mhm.
Different ones.
Mhm.
Uh,
You can
So
just
they're
keep right
both-
on going, just right down the line.
You just keep changing
What
these.
that
and then
does, though, let me ask you, as a precursor to that, you're going to have the word landings and the doors open to stairs in
Oh,
your.
you got to build those drop downs.
That's right. You got to have that
Mhm.
text in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You build. That's the key. Is you build these drop downs and then you connect them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the first thing you do if you're starting a new section would be to add all of that drop down data. Your choices, the choices below. Yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at any component of a house, there's a list of defects that go with that. Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And
each one has its own specific explanation. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But notice that lots of them don't require narratives. Enclosed storage under stairs. Well, that doesn't necessarily require a narrative, but maybe
But you're
it does
reporting
if
it.
underside fire stopping isn't in place, or you can say underside fire stopping is present. You know, and so in a way, this whole section, all this business from here, all of this stuff is just the story about the house. Somebody should be able to look at this and see the house in their head, good and bad and whatever. And then they got some narratives that are linked automatically to that, and some informational stuff in the inspector, what do we call this? The descriptions, right?
Well, the other thing that I think is somewhat revolutionary that I guarantee there just can't be another software where this has been built out like this is, in theory, you're sort of pushing yourself through the rabbit hole of thinking about every possible defect with every system that you're inspecting. And it's like, it helps you think about that. I mean, if you go down all these lists, it's like, well, all the defects are sitting there. I mean, you look at them and you choose the one that applies or you don't, you know.
The only one I can think of that comes close to this, Dylan, is Horizon. They have a way of building lists and tying text to lists and things like that. Spectora doesn't have any remotely like this.
No, and if you are, as an inspector, relying on your memory to look at something, I personally would be out way on a limb.
Yeah, especially without Prevagen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thank God for that. But all right. So is that helpful to walk through that on how I connect those? And that's my approach. Dylan has his approach. I think if you're doing these kinds of drop downs where you want to tell a story about what you did, I mean, nobody's going to look at my report and say you weren't really there. How do I know that garage door wasn't crinkled? Well, there's a picture there. I stated in the report that it wasn't crinkled. It supports. They can immediately tell that you went over and above for them, and so you just don't get those calls of you missed X, Y, Z. For me, if I'm going through my template and I get to the laundry room and I say, "Oh my God, I missed the laundry room," because that has happened to me, where I just walked right by it in an upper hallway, never got distracted, whatever. But you can at least in your report say, look, I missed the laundry. I'll come back and check it out. Or here are a list of a few things you could check yourself, et cetera, et cetera. It puts you in a much better light than if you say nothing, right? So, all right, so let's go back to our overhead door. We'll go down through this. And what I want to do too is I'll bring up, this is a good time to bring up, well, there were no issues with the lift cables or drums. horizontal struts, and yeah, I'll leave that. And you just leave it blank if you can't remember, doesn't apply, and doesn't matter. You know, you got to make a decision, right? Some of this stuff I have in these, yeah, I have them on here, but is it really important? Who cares, right? Top sides weather stripping present, bottom weather stripping present, and this is going to pull up some kind of a little thing about that. I'm not sure that that actually belongs there, but at any rate, we'll keep going. Pedestrian passage door. And so notice I don't have anything developed in this. This is typically commercial installation. You would have a door that a door in the door, and I just haven't developed it out yet. I see them so rarely. Torsion tube and springs. No defects noted. Side extension springs are going to leave that blank because it wasn't that type of door. Security mechanisms. So interior locking mechanism present. None present. Manual lock present. Latching mechanism damaged. So these are all your choices. Yeah, I'm going to leave this blank because I know I have an opener coming up. You would use this section mostly if there was no opener, right? Manual operation and door balance. This is going to apply whether it's got an opener or not. So you get your general information. Door operated up and down normally and easily. Stayed open 3 to 4 feet. So that's going to eliminate all these things that would be problematic with a door. Brand new door. So this was this is a great example of just how to go through the process rather than getting stopped so we can't get through the whole list. If there's no automatic opener, I've got some information to provide. These are the different things that were visible at the time of inspection that it's ready for a future opener. It's information you can provide pretty easily, and it creates mostly
nice.
Mostly this is creating a space to put a couple pictures, right? So you can just drag some pictures in there of those items. So, yeah.
I just wanted to say a few things that I've started to notice that I think in a way it just cleans up so much of what we do, but I have found that I can now add so much information so quickly in Scribeware that you're kind of less inclined to like be calling out repair items and things. I don't know, because you can really just show all the stuff that you looked at and what you were looking for. And the more you build out those little notes and you can drag and drop pictures in so quickly, you really, you just make completely obsolete all that old stuff we used to do of having that like boilerplate disclaimer paragraph that would sit at the top of every chapter. I mean, it's just the biggest bunch of foolishness. You absolutely don't need that anymore. Once you start building some of these little notes and descriptions, everything, you're just showing that you were there and looking at things. And you might use the technique of just a description like, hey, the gas meter's at the south side, or you could do it as an improvement item about a Northridge valve, which is seismic protection out here. And that, to me, it's just using an excuse as like, well, here's a picture of the meter and I was there looking at it. And, by the way, you can also put seismic protection on your gas meter, which isn't required here, but
well, just look at what pictures do to National Geographic. Take the pictures out and you're desperate, wouldn't you? Be desperate. And
let me ask a question. I would love to know what this looks like that you've filled out so far on mobile.
Yeah, I can't.
With everything, Dylan, with everything
actually,
he's got on there, show?
I could bring it up and hold hold the.
You can
Hold the
actually
phone
share
up.
you can share your mobile on Zoom, but that's all complicated.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we should keep going. The
Yeah.
one thing is that Charlie's template is definitely not mobile optimized. It'll, I mean, especially on a phone, it's just, there's
Yeah.
so much stuff,
Mhm.
and
Well, let me ask you, Dylan, on the where he's got manual operation door balance, the blue note right
Mhm.
below it, would that show in the mobile,
sure.
or would
Yeah,
it
yeah.
show stacked down at the bottom? With
No,
like
no,
the-
it shows right there.
Yeah, it'd show right
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now we're at the green boxes here. That's just separates the automatic opener from the non-automatic opener. It doesn't show in the report. You wouldn't even know it's there. So we'll get the automatic opener. Is it post 1990 or pre? So it was post, and this will have a little blurb about what the requirements, what changed in 1990. Has to be version UL 325. Now you'll have a lot of UL 325 doors back to 88, but it actually became law and required that this stuff be present after 1990. So I have narratives that sort that dilemma out a bit. It's not that far from 88 to 90, but the 3 or 4 year window where you're going to find doors that comply and don't comply, and you're going to wonder why. So battery backup. Everybody seeing these yet? They're getting more and more. They're actually required in California.
Really? Jeez.
So I've got a little section built up there. For that, this one didn't have that, so we're going to ignore that. Now, what kind of door opener was it? Well, I've already forgotten, and I've, so you go look at your pictures, and what I'm going to switch to is a LiftMaster. So I've already straightened this when Dylan and I were fooling around. I can straighten it in PowerPoint and make it bigger. I mean, originally it was, it filled this whole white box, but I made it bigger, and you can see over here on the left, see how the white shows, so you can raise it up a little bit to cover the whole area if you want. But what I do is I use this snippet tool. Can you see down on the bottom here? I'm circling the snippet tool. It's a really handy thing, must have. So I can even make it smaller, crop it like that, and then bring it over to Scribeware and just hit paste or Control V, and then I've got my.
How did you use Control C to copy it, and then?
You don't have to do anything from snippet. It's already done the copy part.
Okay.
Or it's pasted to
just
your clipboard.
Hit paste or C Control V.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that happens.
So then, Charlie, when you're doing your pictures, I assume you just put all your pictures in PowerPoint on one screen and then basically just copy and paste them all into Scribeware like that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Does that make sense, you guys? You see what I mean? That's pretty amazing. It's like the Scribeware is especially good with being able to copy and paste stuff into it, whether you're taking words from like your old template that you want to bring in or pictures from an inspection. Yeah. So Charlie's essentially just using PowerPoint open on one screen to edit all of his images, and then using that snippet tool, which I think it's free. I think it's
it is.
It is.
One thing I miss is that I put the picture in the wrong place. I want to click on this, and this opens a box for just that picture. So
except it was a LiftMaster.
Oh, LiftMaster. All right. So we'll change that to. See, I have all of them on the same. The same pulls up the same box. Any like if I click on this, it's still going to stay.
Yeah.
Where is LiftMaster?
That's slick. I like that.
Yeah.
And finally, there it is.
Charlie, as a question, do you ever use the keyword search to find a narrative?
I never do now.
Yeah, you've just built everything out and pulled down.
Yeah.
Does this work on a Mac as well? All those shortcuts?
I would think so. I don't know why not.
You're a PC user. Just
yeah, never touched a Mac. I don't even like messing with my wife's cell phone.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac.
All right. So these are going to stay here. Is it doors or door? So I just I can click off. Just have a. So it reads DASMA testing protocol, how to test and inspect your overhead door. That's how that will read.
And you leave that in there for the client.
Yep. So DASMA test results and associated issues for, well, this is the overhead door because it's the only one. But I have all the other locations that you could pick from. So answering no to any of these, I'm going to leave that blank for now. You could have this at the bottom or the top, either one. I have it at the top. Red manual handle is present. Lamps. I don't have anything in here that said there was nothing wrong with the lamps, but I should. So I can just type it in there. Present. Manual locking mechanism has been removed, disabled. Yes. Oh, actually, it had not been. So we'll click that. Now that's going to pull up a narrative here that had not been disabled. I'm going to get this out of here. I have this, I made this thing, just it's a good visual on what happens if you don't remove that and you operate the door. I don't think you can get a better visual than that.
Awesome.
So at any rate, then I'll go back to my PowerPoint, and somewhere I've got, there it is. So I'll just hit this, make new, just collect that, and
now it's already pasted. It's already copied to your clipboard.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
It's not, I don't find it cumbersome. It's not nearly as quick as photoing it in the field, captioning it, and it just being there. But it doesn't, this has my, this is sort of my branding, all these labels and the discussion that happens right in these boxes. I like doing it this way. The other thing you can do with PowerPoint is you can mass save the entire PowerPoint to JPEG. So then they're in a folder and you just drag them over the same way you would from a folder. But again, it's not quite the same as taking a picture and doing it the way Dylan does on site. All right, so that takes care of that. And I do my entire report and then go back through all my narratives and add my pictures then, because that forces me to proof all those narratives as I go and add language to them if necessary, fix my mistakes in the narratives as necessary, whatever. You want to reread all your narratives every time. It's amazing how your brain changes over time and you see things differently and you want to word things differently. I never consider a narrative a done deal. So warning labels, I want this line to show up. So I've just created a box here, and all there is literally, let's see, let me look at that. I'll show you what that looks like in edit mode here. God, it gets long, Dylan.
Charlie, you're just a glutton for punishment, man. I just don't know how you do this. But just to reiterate, you guys, this isn't like necessarily the way you have to do it, but hopefully everybody can glean these cool little. I mean, Charlie's just done some incredibly creative things with this product. It just blows me away how differently we use it.
So
Super custom.
here's that heading, warning labels, and I've checked the checkbox only, and notice this is all I have here is that little teeny dot.
Well, and also note that this is how he's indented it in there. See how on the field name he's.
Yeah. Good point.
You should show that because I don't think I've ever indented anything.
Yeah, all these indents are multiples of 5 for me. Like if I make this, I'll just extend this out and I'll show you what it looks like. Now, where is it? See, it's way over here.
Yeah.
So you create this indenting that really makes it very readable and organizable and whatnot. So I think I've got 5, 10, 15 spaces normally to get.
Does that show up on mobile too, Dylan? The
Yeah,
indentations?
I would think that would. That actually could really help. That's a good call, Gary. That I should fiddle with that a little bit. And
that actually, it was 10. That's a heading. It's not
yeah, screenshot of that, Dylan, would be.
Yeah. I'll make a note of that.
Show indentations.
Indents.
Did I get it right or did I miss one?
No, you got it.
You got it.
I'm not sure whether it lines up or not, but it's close. This is just a demonstration anyway. All right, so I have to check this box. If I don't check that box, it doesn't show up in the report. That's why there's no other way to do that I know of.
Get the heading to show.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. Is a spring warning label present? Yes. General warning label attached to a door panel. Yeah, yes. There is a warning label at the opener button. Yes, but it was not in the right place.
The warning label was not in
Not
the right place.
I was just thinking that this is why all the real estate agents call Charlie to do all
What's the right place for the warning label, Charlie?
Well, yeah, there's no right place. I mean, I'm just kidding. It's not it's the button that can be.
Okay.
Yeah, the button. I get
Yeah,
that.
me totally buffaloed there.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Misspoken. I was thinking of something else before because I was, and this is just a blurb that comes up with about every door. It's a lot of safety info and whatnot. And if the button's wrong, this is going to come up again. But we'll see. The door bottom brackets, they were there. Door panels, again, we got to check that. Are doors free? Yes, they were. Are door panels free of any signs of cracking? Yes. Are door panels free of any signs of separation? All right, so now we're moving down through. We haven't hit any red stop signs. So these are all going to be yes, because I was there and I know. And you literally, this is an exercise. You can see that this could go very quickly when you're doing it on site with the mobile or whatever. A lot of this could be completed on site. Easier than many other things. Wall station push button. And this will be the picture of it there. So we can go back to PowerPoint and what do I want to do? Well, I
Wall
could.
station push button.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of just the button, but that's it there. So if I don't really need a picture in the report of the button, I just delete that.
Can you go back to that picture again? That was just so awesome how much.
Yeah,
editing
it's
you
coming
did
up
on that.
here.
All right.
Does the door have at least one working wall-mounted push button? Yes. Missing, broken, nothing wrong there. Are push buttons clear view? Yes. Are they push buttons greater than 60 inches above the adjacent floor? This was a no. But notice that this is not, it's not a DASMA thing that would kill the testing, because it's not, nobody's going to die from it, basically, I guess. So button too low, lower than 60 inches from inside the house. So we'll click that one. That should pull up this narrative.
Something to put a photo on.
Yeah. And we'll go back to PowerPoint and grab this one, hit my snippet tool and grab that. And go back to Scribeware. So that's how that ends up in there. And that's and this is just some of the kinds of labeling overlays that I will do.
That is such a beautifully edited. I mean, look at all that. My God.
Yeah, this just blows up what's on down here. And interestingly enough, I didn't get this from the blow up of this. I used, I think I have it in here. Huh.
Where'd you get the text from?
I used the blow up of this, of the close up of this. So you can take this and
crop it out.
Stretch it out. It's better to stretch it out like this and then grab it, but it's much clearer. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So then I just
doesn't distort.
You know, cut that, and you could correct the angle a little bit if you wanted, but then I just pasted it over the top of that other image, wherever it is.
I would have to charge at least $150 just to inspect the garage door.
Right? I know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it makes you think about providing it as a service that you do charge more for, because I think it deserves more attention. It's like that whole business of a special deck inspection. And this is something a home inspector is fully capable of doing. Why not? Why not do better job and charge more for it? I charge more for my inspections. This, you know, you can do it. There is a market for it. All right. So
and the key to know that is that this software would accommodate that particular business model, right, Dylan? Is that the?
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to do another one of these and just show how amazingly fast you could build stuff too. I mean, you know, we all inspect on this continuum of like how much detail do we want to put in, and I think that the SOP. Yet I think we all have run into the fact that if we only inspect to the SOP, the public's expectations of what we do are not at the same level of the SOP. So we're going to get a statistical number of complaints.
Yeah.
Certainly the agent's ideas of that.
Yeah, I'll give you an example with this particular one. This was the people had been living here for a year, 2 years actually, and they were buying it, and it was still. They were buying it from the builder. I mean, they were renting from the builder. Yeah. And so I did the entire inspection, and they were anxious to get the report back so that we could do a Zoom meetup and go through the whole report. But when they got the report, they said, we don't need to do a Zoom meetup. So I still haven't done one yet with them. And said, we're good to go for the builder, and we'll do a Zoom later on. So, you know, that's what this kind of writing and reporting can get you. So remote control devices, I got some general information about that. None seen, I recommend asking seller, so you can put a blurb in about that. Secondary entrapment features. Well, we had photoelectric sensors, not edge sensors. You ever see edge sensors? I only see a couple of them. But our photoelectric sensors greater than 4 inches and less than 6 inches from the floor. Yes, they were. So let's see, photoelectric sensor results, blah, blah, blah. There was nothing to report on there, so I'll leave that blank. Was it verified the sensors are not? Yeah, so that's a different type of opener. Those that don't have the ones that have edge sensors, they don't have those photoelectric sensors. Blocking the sensors immediately resulted in the door returning to the open position, yes. So it won't have anything in that line to do. Are all hardware parts securely and appropriately attached? Most components discussed above prior to DASMA requirements, so that's good to go. Is spring containment present? Yes, a torsion tube as opposed to wires. When the door contacts a 2x4, it reverses and returns to the fully open position. In this case, it did not. But we're at the end of the test now. So we made the test, it didn't reverse, repairs. See, I can do repairs by door company, repairs by builder. I'm going to go with builder this one because it's new construction and he's still on the hook for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that here's a
Mhm.
reversing test there. So that so
And
that
if you
gets
had a
us,
video of it, you could put a video in that.
you could
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So that gets us through this whole DASMA test in the door, and we can see what that looks like in preview.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this looks like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's still going to come up on the same screen. Let me know if you.
Yeah, I think we're going to.
You want to email us when you get that, Charlie? Because this thing is so big, it's probably going to take a while to generate that report.
It's there. All right, so let's look at it in the full report. We got the garage. Yeah. So this is what it looks like in the report. Here's the story.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a story, man. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I see what a difference it makes on your picture, just the way you leveled it and zoomed in on it. I mean,
all the indentions.
Yeah, I am really anal about. I hate seeing pictures. I see pictures on their end, on their side,
but it sure reads well.
Yeah, and by blowing it up, I mean this is zoomed way in on it, so I could have even cropped it even more. I mean, I just did it for today that way.
But Gary asked the question of, that it is impressive about Scribeware that it can support this business model on the back end, meaning you can actually build all this data into it. But also on the front end, this is all more like in the full report. So, I mean, somebody that's in a hurry could still look at the summary page, get the significant concerns in a matter of seconds and be on their way. I mean, it sequences information really well. So, and that's, I think, the key to delivering this much information. If you're going to put this much information in a report and you don't sequence it well, the report becomes nearly useless. Like you can't have to wade through all of this.
That's right.
The way
these guys that don't do summaries. Yeah.
So click summary up there and show the summary on this.
Summary.
Yeah, I mean, the summary is I mean, right now we just only have 2 items in there, but
correct. Yeah.
And it's not a full report, but if you look at any of my finished reports, I do have a lot of notes, a lot of little descriptive items, and
you allow different things in the summary too, because you can set that up, right?
Yeah,
that's correct. You can choose which modifiers you want to send to the summary.
There you go.
But I think the real takeaway from this is just how much detail you can kind of build in, but you're not this idea that like, oh, nobody reads it. And I do think with most systems, if you put this much detail in, the report can get really unreadable. And I just don't think that is true with Scribeware. It's just too easy to get what you need quickly. But you can go hang in there as long as you want and keep opening up more information, you know.
Oh, that's kind of what I do. I also have ready access, all kinds of other tools like, I have this tool that I have up here that I just click on it. Oops, that's not the one. It's kind of a timeline of significant events that just when things happen.
wow.
So if you
The,
got
the
That's
year
cool.
that it came
That's
into
really
code.
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, when different things started and ended and continued, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
Wow.
That's just money in the bank right there.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, I should show you one other thing here. I didn't show you with this. Is I have the overhead door components. This is an inspector only notes. So I have, this is a side spring door and their components, and this is a torsion spring type. This is the component, the parts of a motor, the opener. So I'm using the terms that actually are used by manufacturers rather
Right.
than making things
So
up.
that you don't say this thing right here with
Yeah.
the red handle on
The
it.
red,
Yeah.
the red thingy
The
was too
bar.
Yeah.
close to the floor.
Right.
It's funny, but that's actually like a great thing to be aware of as a home inspector. Is like once you're aware of it, you realize when you're starting to write something that you're probably not using the right terminology, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's often good to go to like the manufacturer or the building code. I mean, those are the two places you go to try to find that right term.
Mhm.
Yeah, like somebody Ruben posted about a wall missing nogging. Well, the code doesn't use the word nogging, but nogging is a term for stiffeners that go in a wall when you don't have plywood or gypsum on both sides. But I would never use nogging in a report because it's just solid blocking. But what I find interesting, I have this in here too. This is the entire building code about garage overhead doors.
Nice.
This is all of it. So
That's amazing.
we're clearly on. It's a manufacturer thing we have to go by.
Yeah. That is the sound of punting.
Yes, it is. I should make that football shape.
Yeah, you need the football icon with like the goalpost too. You got to get the goalpost.
I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a picture, take a football and put this labeling on it.
That's pretty funny. We're not going to get involved.
Well, that was fun. I don't know. I hope you guys picked up a tidbit or two. I really, really do not want to see anybody doing what I'm doing.
Dylan could show us the difference between how you created a comment and the way Dylan does a comment.
We could try to do that real quick. We could trade off. I mean, it's one of those things, maybe I could even nip it and then use it. But you guys want me to show you how I create those connections?
I'd like to see it again. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here, let me.
Got to give up screen, do I?
Yeah. Let me get Scribeware up.
That worked really seamless, Dylan, the business of keeping everything on one screen and just going back and forth rather than having to change screens.
Yeah, no, that worked really well. It's smart to prep all that. Do you guys see my screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just create a new report just to fiddle around with here.
Let's go to the garage door section.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ouch. Here it is.
Yay.
This is a lot more pleasant to navigate.
Made my
Yeah.
day.
Man,
Yeah.
I
A
like
lot more
that.
than you
I
get
like
with it.
that.
Yeah. Isn't that
It's got the
hysterical?
Dasma though.
Yeah, no, I don't get into all that, right? I'm just gonna, I mean, this is a good contrast here because I kind of think mine is too much for a lot of people. So I mean, we're looking at Charlie's thing, which is like just incredible, Charlie. I mean, I just came in the time you put
Encyclopedia
into building
Britannica.
that. Yeah. So, you know, for me, garage door, I have a nice little note here. I love when I find the service stickers there, and I'll snap a picture, and that lets me put the service sticker. You often find who was out working on it. So I've tried to build little things like that anywhere I can find, like a contractor that touched something and left their phone number behind. I'll often put that in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you know, if there was no opener, I've got a narrative. I didn't test it because belongings were obstructing it, not tested because it was unplugged, not tested because it was locked. And then this is how I do, you know, my laser eye comments, you hit that and you can too high, too low, none noted, disabled intentionally, you know, when you see them like up on the ceiling.
And you have yours indented, or did it automatically
so
indent them?
I'll show you how I do that. It kind of, no, I manually did that. So that is where I do some, when you indent here, we'll open it up and edit in library. You'll see how I get these little arrows. Opener control, you know.
What spacing do you use there, Dylan?
I use 5.
Uh-huh.
I use groups of 5 for my indents.
The most
So
important
opener
thing with that is
control,
to be consistent about it, because
it helps to use 5, 10, and 15 spaces, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm missing a million things here. But these are like the ones you find all the time, you know. Probably one thing I really need, we'll go look at in a second here, but sensitivity inadequate, you know, meaning like I couldn't get the door to reverse, one door or multiple doors, you know. Pretty basic. I mean, this is really pretty simple. Garage occupant door, right? They're the man door going into the house. I kind of lump that in with the garage door section. You could build a separate chapter just for the occupant door. I just kind of lumped it into one section. Not fire rated, pet door compromised, missing threshold, missing weather strip, hinges missing, hinges disabled. Right? So it covers most of the things you're going to run into.
See, for me, I would make fire rated blue so that I could put a picture of the label in it.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea, right? And then you could snap a picture of that, the spring hinge and the well, let's do that, and I'll show you how I do that. So we'll add a new observation, and we'll call this.
So you're going to go to the observation first.
I am. I like to have it built out personally. So I'm going to call it a description because I want to make a blue thing that's going to hang.
You'll need to have it built out because you're going to pick it later, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So we'll let's say this shows the.
And you can just put a period in there too if you don't want to say anything. You know.
Yeah, but I like it's sort of like captioning my photo ahead of time that I want to show. So instead of just adding to library, we'll edit in library, and we'll put.
Which is the same thing that Charlie did, right?
Yep.
Added the text up top.
Listing plate, right? So now we know kind of what we're going to take a picture of. We're going to choose yes. So now we've got this new narrative. It's all in the library, and we want to connect it to that thing. This is one thing I like is that I don't have to have this matching. You know, what we're going to connect it to is, it was under here, fire rated. So I don't have to use the word fire rated under here. I can connect any words I want. And that's the difference. We're going to manually connect it. So I'm going to come up here, these 3 dots for any section. This is the keys to the kingdom here. You hit those, edit section, and it turns it green.
Yep.
Now you're in Charlie land. You can start doing anything that you want, you know. So what we're going to do is go under, which one was it? Garage occupant door. So now I've opened this list, right? And we want to connect it to fire rated. So I'm going to come down here for suggested observations. You guys see that down here? When I click suggested observations, it gives me this little check mark so I can hit fire rated. So I'm going to connect something in my library to that fire rated. And then I'm going to hit next. And I can use the keyword search to find that. And I think plate, I think I called it like the listing plate. So occupant door listing plate, this, right? That's the one we just wrote. So I'm going to hit that button. We are now connecting this guy to that. We hit save. See how it's already blue?
Mm-hmm.
Hit save again. And I might save this in my template. I like that. So now I come through, and this is where the speed comes in on the mobile app, where it's just crazy. When you start honing this in, I'm able to get so much data built in. Like Charlie's had a beautiful word for it. It's a story, and you can tell the story with pictures so quickly. And it's like, well, now I'm like, okay, it's a fire rated door. Looks legit. Boom. Here's a little thing. I can go snap the picture of it. And, you know, you do, it's a few clicks, a few more than I'd like, but all of a sudden, you know, the picture is sitting right there, you know, and now, you know, you don't need this whole boilerplate BS stuff. It's like, no, this is what I looked at, you know.
So the important thing here for me, if I'm trying to learn how to do this, is that it begins with a description of the observation. In other words, you have to have that note in there first so that you can tie it to it.
Yeah, right? That's the way I do it. That's correct. Yeah, because you can see, like, if I went in and then I have to have the thing sitting in the library first, and then you go through and you connect. So if you were coming in from a different software even, and you had brought in all of your narratives from another software, this is how you could go manually connecting them. And it's Charlie has a unique sort of advantage of coming over. You know, his old report was an Excel spreadsheet. You know, and so and to his credit, he had brilliantly built out the logic of, like, I mean, I remember him explaining to me that, like, he basically has built out every defect with every system. And it's like, my God, that's just incredible. Anyway, I'm so impressed with what you've done, Charlie. I am glad I don't have to do that to write a report.
I think the key is I want something you could dumb down as opposed to always have to add to or build up.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But I like that there's two approaches, because I think they're both, one's a very right brain and one's a very left brain, maybe. I don't know what the difference is, but I think people will find either one equally easy or hard. So whatever works.
But you see how, like, just under garage occupant door, you start, like, building in. I mean, and I'm sure there's things I'm missing, but you could keep adding on to them to where, you know, you just sort of click in the box and boom, the narrative
so back to
shows
mobile on the garage occupant door, fire rated. When you click on garage occupant door, if it's not indented, or if it's blue or if it's orange, it's looking the same on mobile.
Here, let me see if I can share it with you real quick. You guys want to see it on mobile?
Sure.
If you could show that because that's, you know, I get moved, it's going to be so important that I'm able to see.
Well, you can certainly see it because the font is way bigger on the mobile.
Yeah.
It's definitely designed for us age challenged.
I'm thinking it would indent. Dylan wouldn't. I'm thinking it would indent the same way, but I don't know.
Let me just show you. So I'm going to start share.
Don't see anything yet. There we go.
Okay, so I'm going to Scribeware. One thing I'm curious in, I just saved that thing we just built, you guys. So
yeah,
I want to go to that. It's going to take this a minute to start thinking and stuff. I am going to hit a plus here, this red plus mark.
Yes.
And that gives me the opportunity to choose the template I want. So I'm going to choose my Orca residential template. So it'll take a minute. It's like, it's talking to the whole servers and like pulling in that template and stuff. And now here are all my chapters and sections, you know? So I'm going to go to garage.
And click on garage.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go to this automatic openers. Now I've got all my blue and red. So see how the cool thing about mobile, it displays it so nicely. So let's just pretend my computer screen is that data tag on the garage door. I'm going to hit this little box. I'm going to hit the blue thing. I'm going to hit my camera icon. I'm going to snap the picture. This is a new thing that I'm not totally in love with, but it's got some advantages that are worth it. I hit at the bottom left here where you see how there's like a little picture of the icon at the bottom left.
Mhm.
I click on that. Oops, my way. See, and that's the picture. I can caption it if I want to. So I could come in here and write,
Yep.
Listen. I use voice to text for all of my captioning. See the little microphone that's visible there?
Mhm.
And man, you put this sucker in airplane mode, that thing is just instantaneous. But anyway, I hit the green check mark.
Hit the green check mark.
We go back, and that picture with that
Description.
is right there, you know.
Mhm.
So I mean, I took a little time with it to explain it all, but once you get accustomed to it, I'll just show you. Like if I'm on a job, I'm going like this.
Yeah. Well, I can't see anything what you're doing because it's going so
Yeah,
fast.
it's all. I just giving you a sense of like that's how long it took me to get that picture.
Sure,
right,
proficient with it.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
responding. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's insanely fast. The trick is, you got to start slow. You can't pick it up and expect to do what I just did.
Sure.
No, it's
but the main thing I wanted to kind of see was how that lays it in the process of scrolling up and down onto the next chapter.
So here's how the indents work on mobile, Gary. See where it says more?
Where?
Like look next to laser eyes and then more.
Yes.
If you hit more, now I've got the indents work on mobile.
Yeah.
And it's super fast. I mean, these work so great. So, all right, laser eyes. Well, they're too low. Boom, there's my narrative. I click on this guy, click on the camera icon. I can get 2 or 3 pictures of it. Boom, boom. I'm just taking pictures.
Sure.
Now I go and hit this guy. Those are the 4 pictures I just took, right?
Can you take one out? You got one in there that's out of whack. Can I take one out? You can go in and delete it.
That one and delete it. Remove that photo.
By doing what? Hitting the trash can at the top?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Yep.
And I could start captioning them all if I wanted to. Go
Yep.
through and caption them. When you hit the green check, that dumps them right with that narrative.
Right now, you have to do any on picture circles and stuff on the desktop, though, right?
No, I'll show you that actually. This is pretty cool. So,
so you can annotate the photo in process.
Yeah. So it's a bunch of clicks, but here we've got something. I'm going to take this picture here, go into here. So you see here the little box at the top with an arrow on it. You see that? I'm going to hit that. This is a back door.
I remember this now.
iMarkup is what I use.
Yeah.
So I click iMarkup. I hit draw. I could use, put in a little arrow in. I love it. It's got the magnifier.
But the stuff that's already available in the desktop to put on pictures.
This one isn't the magnifier thing.
Yeah.
But everything else is pretty much.
That's
but anyway,
cool.
And then this is the key thing. See the little arrow at the top, Gary?
Yes.
Upper right, you hit that guy, you hit OK. And then you need to hit the share to dump it back into Scribeware.
Oh, it is. It's I do all this back at the office.
Yeah. Right into Scribeware. It's certainly more clicks than I'd like, but it's actually not all that slow. I mean, it all moves really fast.
Yeah, all that kind of annotating takes time. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you pick your poison with annotating pictures. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
going to annotate pictures, you're going to eat up some time. But anyway, now that picture is attached to the narrative. It's got, markups on it. You can put captions on it.
Yep.
So you can really get a lot of it done. It's so easy and fast on the mobile that I find myself, at the end of the day, when I have work to do, I'm often just like laying on my couch working on my phone to get it to that kind of 95% done. And then I'll finish it off on the computer by kind of cleaning it all up and stuff. But it's hard to compete with the speed. I mean, again, that service sticker noted, I use this one all the time, boom, boom. And now that picture is sitting there with that service sticker. This shows a record.
That's stupid fast. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insanely fast. It's more clicks than I would like, but it's just hard. Steve and I have spent a lot of time figuring out how to reduce clicks, and it's just tough. You're navigating a whole bunch of stuff, at the end of
The only way around it is to develop some sort of speech command.
Well, that's the biggest thing that I don't like on mobile is just, I do spend a lot of time looking through, going to all the different chapters and sections.
But if you could hide them, it would be.
Well, and we've been talking about having a voice navigation. So maybe maybe up here, next to this, you could hit a microphone and say, electric chapter, be able roofing section.
Yeah.
I don't know, but even that's a bit of an
Go back
experiment.
one layer. Go back one layer. Right there where you have the ribbons where it says overview and general. Each ribbon should change to a different color once you're done with that chapter or you have information in it.
Well, it turns orange to tell you that you have information in it, and it does that.
Okay, so it turns orange. Okay.
Yeah, it does that automatically. We do not have a manual way to turn it green or whatever that you're done with it.
Yeah, but I know that I haven't had I've not been into the roof section because it hasn't changed colors. Is that correct?
That's correct. All these are white because I haven't touched them. So it tells you where you've been.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great.
You have to be careful because it doesn't distinguish that, see how some of these are still white. So I haven't been to those other two sections,
Yeah.
What it ought to do is turn it yellow when you've been there and you haven't gotten to all the sections.
That's right.
And then it turns orange when you've at least got all the sections filled in. That would be better.
Yeah, agreed.
This is really cool on mobile, Gary. On the bottom right, see the plus mark? It's 3 lines and a plus mark.
Very bottom, yes.
Yeah. When you click on that, that is a global library search. So notice at the top, I'm in my plumbing section under distribution pipe. Well, let's say I want, a GFCI comment. I use this all the time, that GFI is inconsistent with modern standards. So it's searching through my entire library. See the second one down, there's my comment, GFCI inconsistent with modern standards. So you can select that, apply that to the report. It's got my beautiful illustrations.
Yeah.
Now I snap a picture of it.
Yeah.
You hit the green check mark, and now that picture of the GFI, and you would probably put a location, garage or something. But that's all right there. So you don't have to necessarily be in the section you want to get a picture right with that narrative.
So my brain is on plumbing, but I might see an electrical something, so I can jump to that through global.
That's correct. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's that plus sign. Now, when I'm in distribution plumbing, if I want to do a local library search, there's the stack of books at the top. You see that one? When you click on that guy, that's a back door to that's going to be my library for distribution piping. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. So, and you won't, I don't know what of this you have. I'm on the alpha channel, which is me being tortured by stuff not working correctly all the time. But anyway, you'll have this version shortly. That there might be some things you have, but now this is one of my favorite things, you guys. It's that you don't have yet on the mobile. But check this out. So exteriors and decks. I mean, all the time I do houses that have multiple decks, and I'll often gunny sack them into one if they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
But if they're really different, like there's a brand new back deck and a really crappy old front deck, I want to have two different deck sections. So the three dots up here, I hit that. Well, I can copy the decks and porches. I can rename the decks and porches.
Oh.
So I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this, entry deck. So now I've got an entry deck. Now I can copy it. And I can do
entry deck back or front or whatever. Yeah.
Back deck. So you can start getting now now on the fly on mobile, you're really getting granular, and like you can dial in all your bathrooms, however many fireplaces there are,
2 kitchenette, 2 refrigerators, a freezer.
And that's all stuff that desktop.
So now on mobile, on the fly, you're customizing that template to just fit the house like a glove.
It's saving as you go. Are you saving as you go? Do I need to do a master save?
You don't want to save this to your template because you're customizing it just for this one report, right?
Yeah,
it's saving it to this report. Like I've already saved it. Everything saves automatically. There's no saving,
So there's no master save to do or upload or any of that.
It seems
you
like
don't have to do any of that. It's just happening. And so when I go back to the office, now I open up the report on the computer and I've got an entry deck and a back deck.
So it syncs automatically. There's no sync button to hit.
That's correct. There's
it seems like that'd just be essential because you can never predict what about that second crawl space you discover when you get there?
That's right. Yeah. You can't predict any. So now on the fly with the mobile, you're just molding this. Can you do that in some of the others that you guys have tried on an app? Can you just like mold all the sections and keep adding things?
Sections can be added in Spectora, but you can't. But you have to sync it. You have to remember to sync it, or you have to sync it, or it won't. It won't.
There's no saving, no syncing. It's just happening automatically, constantly.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's kind of a brand new one that we'll have out soon, but you can also do it with chapters. So you could powder bath, if you want to rename that one, I usually just go in here and then you come up, rename chapter powder bath, and you can call it.
Very cool. Yeah.
I did the same thing with the interiors when I'm still doing my practice inspections for me, but I did the same thing with my house for the interiors. If I wanted to section out the rooms, just copy chapter, rename it. You want to do like individual bedrooms.
Oh, that's an interesting. Yeah. So you could then use that interior and start putting it for different rooms if you want to. Yeah. And if you're doing the room by room, you probably want to build out a bunch of those for default, so you don't have to it'll just be a bunch of time. Every house is going to have a certain number of bedrooms.
Right. Unless you looked it up ahead of time and did it before you got there. Type of thing.
No, but this will be great. I don't think anybody other than the beta users on mobile have this 3 dots thing, but that's how you do it. And it's coming shortly. We'll release it before too long. It's working pretty great. I don't know if there's anything else I need to show you. Oh, the other thing I should show you is just you see how this button, you guys, in between the plus mark and the camera, there's the little thing with the mountains.
Picture, multiple pictures.
The live gallery or whatever.
Scribeware gallery. Now, one of the things I'm learning about using the mobile is that it's faster to take a whole bunch of pictures and have them in the gallery and then go do your reporting. So let's say I'm sitting in front of the electric panel right now. I can be anywhere. It doesn't matter where. None of this stuff matters. I can be anywhere. I'm going to open my picture and I'm going to start snapping pictures of the electric panel. This is how quick. I'm just going boom, 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 boom. I'm snapping pictures. All right. So I got all these pictures. Well, now I want to go do the report. So I go under the electrical chapter, electric service. We could start filling stuff out. So I have a little thing that I want to show the permit stickers that I found. So I click that, I open this guy, Now here's the thing, I can go right from the gallery. So I'm going to click in between the plus mark and the cameras where I'm going to click to get this.
Bottom
I
of the
got the
screen.
gallery.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Let's say that one and this one, those are gone. They're now instantly right where I want them. Boom. You know,
And they're released from the gallery.
they're released from the gallery. Now in the gallery, there's different
That's sweet.
settings. So you can come up here and show the hidden ones.
Oh man.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Dude.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
that's burning up there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you that the joy that you experience of having those disappear from your
Mhm.
gallery
Mhm.
into the
Yes.
report,
Yes.
that's all.
Yeah, because then you know you're done, right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
right. So I have it, you know, Charlie got me testing the voltage so I can go,
Dylan, have you
boom.
tried this on an iPad?
I'm not. I
Mhm.
bet people have, but I haven't.
Okay.
I have an iPad too. I just haven't fiddled with
Mm.
it. So below ground electric service, it's 200 amps. We're all good there. It's 4-aught aluminum, 200 amps, 200 amps.
Here's something that I did. Even though it's out of order, I put the 4-aught aluminum at the very top because it's the most common. You know. It's,
And then if I have a defect, I'm gonna hit garage, and if I have a defect, I'm gonna choose do a defect on something. Oh, it would be in orange.
Okay, so let's say one of those pictures I took. Let's say we were looking at a Zinsco panel, Gary.
Yep.
So those pictures are all pictures that I already took of the Zinsco that I know I want in the report. I hit this Zinsco that's orange, and I go boom.
Because that's what's wrong. Okay. And then I do a photo of it. Okay, I got you.
I just grab 3 pictures. I put them into it.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
All right. So under panel manufacturer, I look at the description. All right. So the difference is I would need to choose recommendation, then I would scroll to the bottom and find the recommendations. The recommendations do not come up natively in another software that I use at Spectora.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's not listed like this, recommendations and nothing wrong with it, like utility room, bathroom. I know that obviously bathroom is something that is a defect, right?
That's it. And that's why some of these, like if it's in the garage, it's just showing, well, it's in the garage. But as soon as I hit bathroom, I get a note that like, well, you're not allowed to put them in the bathroom.
Put them in the bathroom. Right. So all of that defect stuff. Now, if you had a yes, no question that would bring something up, like, is it dangerous? Yes. And then I guess yes would be, how would you do a conditional statement?
it could trigger all the whys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How would it show
that would be under a more. You'd have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Be under more.
That's right. That's where you use these guys. So like, here, Gary, like here I have common panel defects.
Yes.
Now these are inspector notes. This isn't shown up in the report, but like, let's say I want to go inside the panel, right? I hit more. Well, now here's a whole group of them, you know, unprotected opening is found in a panel. Boom. Grommets and bushing is missing. Boom. Grommets and bushing is loose. You know, I'm just adding all these narratives here. Panel 2 full breakers.
I got bad news for you, Dylan.
What's that?
You're headed towards mine.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
What's interesting, Charlie, is I built this where you built it so that you have to go through this.
Yeah.
And I built it as like a back door that like, if you're like, am I missing something? You go under the common defects and you're like, well, let's see, what are all the things that might be wrong inside the panel? And I hit more.
And the bottom line is you're protecting yourself.
Yeah. And I have places that I can go look and be like, well, what are all the things? You know, I mean, what I wish is that I bet you have 10 times more of these than I do, Charlie, you know, but you know stuff to look at that I don't, but whatever. It's pretty well built out, I suspect, compared to a lot of them. You know, here's physical damage, you know, nails penetrating the panel, corrosion, general note, corrosion noted on one circuit, corrosion on bus bar.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's more than acceptable for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is the big stuff. I think it's mostly there. You know, multi-wire circuits in phase and on tandem, overheating risk, look in phase. Like I'm not totally sure. Missing bridge, handle ties. I use that one all the time, right? Let's see those. And again, going out of the gallery just seems so fast and rewarding. So my process, you guys, when I'm using mobile is snap a picture. And if I want to caption with it, use the voice to text to caption it. And I'm just moving. That's what I do. And like, that's pretty much my data collection. And then I have moments where I pause and get a bunch of the report filled out.
And catch up. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, yesterday when we were talking, neither one of us hung up and I heard you caption a picture.
Really?
Yeah, you were in inspection. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's hysterical. Yeah. No, I mean, the voice to text, for some reason, I can't show it when I'm in Zoom, but I snap a picture, go here, and then I touch in that box, and that's this microphone, and I hit that, and where it says speak now, I just speak, and it nails it. I mean, it just won't do it when I'm zooming, but I mean, it's so freaking fast, you guys. And what's cool that it takes 30, 40, 50 before you start getting the hang of it. But like, you start adding these like layers of information almost effortlessly. Like you can make, you know how in your brain, when you're inspecting it and you're like, oh, look how nice the siding looks. You know, it's like beautiful mid-century siding. And you're like, oh, that's nice stuff. Snap a picture, caption it. You know, nice quality mid-century siding. You know, you can kind of figure out what to do with it later, but you just, over time, you start really quickly creating this like nuanced report with these layers of information that you've been there, you've looked at this place. I mean, and I get phone calls of people looking at my pre-listings, and it's something like Charlie was saying, where like the clients, oh, I can't wait to Zoom with you. And then they read the report and they're just sort of taken aback at like how all of the questions are answered, and it's like everything's in there.
Yeah, if people can't look at your report, read your report, and be in that house in the moment, the report is not going to do the same kind of job. It's they hear your voice and they are in the house. They should have a mental picture of what that house looks like from your report, and a lot of reports don't do that.
So guys, it's 10 o'clock and I'm afraid I got to head out. Charlie, a huge thank you to you. You were so sweet to walk us through this. I really simply am flabbergasted at all the information that you put in there, and you've done some really creative things. So hopefully everybody has a few tips of things they can steal from Charlie.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
Hopefully you've gained a few things not to do.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you. That's really useful.
Thanks, good to see everybody on here. Thanks for participating. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Right, thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks. Bye. See you guys.